Hey everybody, it's Robert Giusardi, the creator of Blockchain Kingdoms. We turn video gaming into passive income and paid work. I am out for a walk, so I'm going to take you with me, and so I might get a little bit loud during the course of this video. If you get a little seasick looking at this, then go ahead and feel free to look away. So in this video, I'm going to share a lot of my thoughts about our WeFunder launch that we just did, as well as a lot of general market things. There's a lot of stuff happening in the markets right now, and but let's go ahead and start with my business, because I have a lot of really juicy details. If you've been following my business, or you've been a supporter of us, or invested in us, I'm actually going to share some really juicy details in this video, things you have not heard yet before. So let's talk about that. The WeFunder has raised so far $35,000 the last time I checked it. I'm not allowed to talk about some of the terms because of compliance in this video's promotional things. But let's say that's really good. Our total raise is up to $250,000 is what we're looking to raise. And man, it's really loud out here, huh? So I think maybe I'll just go walk around the place here in a second, get where it's less noisy. But I think it's looking really well. I don't know how long it'll take. Maybe it'll take us a month, maybe more. I'm starting to email a couple of influencers out there, see if they want to interview me about the company. If you know anyone who might be interested in that thing, join the Discord, send them, my way, let me know, or hit them up yourself. So I think our job token technology, which you're watching this video, you may or may not have heard of. Basically, we allow you to take our job token, play our video games, and earn crypto, and you can earn a share of the revenue. No, I'm sorry, let me step that back. You can earn crypto playing our games, and if you own the token, when you're not playing with your token, you can actually lend it out to other players and automatically earn a share of the revenue that they're creating. So, oops, don't want to block the camera there. So, we think this is revolutionary. I was thinking about it. I want to be able to play whatever video game I want. And of course, I have to be supported on our platform by the developers who make the game. But the goal is to basically get to the point where if you want to play an RTS, or you want to play a shooter, you want to play, a team arena game, a MOBA, whatever. If there's a genre you like, we'll have a game in that genre, and in every single one of those games, you'll get paid in crypto based on your play time. If you own a job token, depending on its level, you'll be earning depending on the level of the job token. And I kind of basically put in these these incentives for staking and growing the capital. So the more, essentially what happens, what should happen is, as long as there's the more people who want to see video gaming as like an income, just for playing and earning, the more people who want that, the more our economy will grow, and so will the capital and the value of the tokens. And there's base layer technology for our seeds. So some of you may have already heard a lot about that. You might be tired of hearing about the virtual supply chain technology and the job tokens, but I wanted to cover that really quickly for anybody who did not know about those yet. So a couple things about the WeFunder is some of you may have seen that we're talking about some of our developers. They don't want to be named yet. They're splitting a brand into a new brand. They are actually working on some really cool AAA games. They're a full-service development studio. And they're under NDA for a couple of the games, so they actually can't talk about some of them. So what they want us to do is announce our deal with them later in the year. So so we're able to say like a little bit about them, but not a lot about them. We'll be announcing more about our partnership with this development studio later in the year, probably in the summer or by the summer, and Yeah, so we've had another question on our WeFunder about, let's not talk about that actually. Let's talk about passive income cards, because I think anybody watching this right now, you can probably hear that airplane, might be interested kind of like what we have in store for the passive income cards. So with the passive income cards, you can basically buy these cards, and the more that you collect that are the same type, like Cyberpunk or Space Opera, the more that you have, you get these stacking 1% bonuses for those card types that you have for earning units of our passive income. And the more of the same faction that you have, you get another bonus of 1%. So the really cool thing here is we're designing it so that you want to collect cards of the same type. You want to collect cards of the same faction, and factions only appear once a year. So this really makes them very long-term thinking. A year from now, someone's going to be like, man, there's only like 10 of these factions that exist, and so I'm going to want them to help grow my assortment of stacking 1% bonuses. So these cards can then be upgraded, and similar to our job tokens, it upgrades essentially their earnings. So this isn't the end of the system, because I figured that's not quite enough. So we have individual passive income units for each card type. So there are 4 card types: Fantasy, Cyberpunk, Metaverse, and Space Opera, and their efficiency for being upgraded increases if you use the same type that it is. So what this means is that since we have these 4, this diversification, it means that there might be a different value market for some of the card types. There might be a different value market for some of the card type units. So it really diversifies the demand inside of the card economy. And you'll be able to trade these things, the cards and the units on our platform. And yeah, we do plan to have you have like withdrawal. So inside of our entire ecosystem, actually, be able to withdraw from whatever tokens you have back into your bank. So this is a big vision that we have. And so the one thing that I haven't talked about much about the passive income cards is we did drop an image inside of our announcement channel that is about crypto castles. So with crypto castles, I was thinking, well, the passive income cards are great. They have a cool system, and that those it's being launched in 2022. We think at the latest. We actually want to get it up and running by the end of the year. It's a goal. We did promise 2022 earlier, but now we think we can probably get ahead of that. So it's something we're working on. But we figured with crypto castles, we want to add more value to the passive income card. So it's not just you buy these cards and you collect these units, you upgrade the cards, and then you watch it. The goal is that these things do go up in value. But I was like, that's not quite enough, because we can do more. So what we're doing is, we're like, what if the passive income card owners are actually the sole suppliers for another video game platform, and that is crypto castles. So with crypto castles, the passive income card owners are actually the sole suppliers of the video game items in crypto castles. So crypto castles will be a semi-simple game. I'm not going to go into too many details right now. We're having some artwork done up so I can essentially show you guys exactly how it works. I think we'll probably have that within a month or so. And but the idea is that the owners of the passive income cards essentially are the sole creators of all the assets for the crypto castles platform. That means that Blockchain Kingdoms does not sell any assets for crypto castles. Well, we're thinking we might sell some skins, right? So some like little options for you just for fun. But otherwise, besides those skins for maybe some of the cards, there's not going to be many cards, so it's not like we're, it'll make sense later about the skins. But yeah, for all the assets, the NFTs, for all the currencies for crypto castles, that is all going to be genesised by the passive income card owners. So, some things are subject to change. But we do want the passive income cards to start dropping one NFT each a day. So those NFTs are going to be anywhere from between just like when you open a card pack and you might get a common or a rare or an ultra rare or like a legendary. It's going to be the same thing with the NFT drops of the passive income card. So if you own a passive income card, every day you're going to get a drop of an NFT. And that NFT, can then be put on the passive income card, on the Crypto Castles market, or you can go ahead and use that NFT yourself in the Crypto Castle game. So we wanted to provide this value for the passive income card owners, and the way Blockchain Kingdoms will make its money is not only through the sale of the the original sale of the passive income card, but we'll also earn based on some of those trades. So if you make a trade of a card, we're likely going to earn like a residual on that trade. We don't know how much yet, and likely same thing with the tokens that you trade between other players. We'll likely take a residual on that. We think that's the best way to create value for you guys, but essentially the owners of passive income cards will own the supply chain for Crypto Castles. Like, it will be yours. You will supply everything for that game, and we've created some really cool value incentive things for those cards that actually can feed back into the passive income card. So it's actually, I think you guys, it's very intriguing. It's very different really from anything else we've seen. But you guys, if you've been following us, you probably realize that we like things that are different. I come from it from my own personal value perspective, because I see myself as a founder who's starting, very much, with very little resources. I started this business with very few resources, but big dream. And I was working, and I was like, well, I probably have enough money to get a business off the ground. So let's invest that. And luckily many of you have come out and supported us. And now we have our, we're now at a very good position where we have these AAA developers working on our game. Josh has come on to the business, and he is an amazing partner. He is doing a lot to create value for the company. And he really just brings so much to the table. And Night Sky's been with us and always been one of our greatest supporters since the beginning. And so, as I build these systems out, I always look at it, well, what would make me want to buy these things? I'm a really hard sell, guys. If you've watched me dissect cryptos and these NFTs and games, like I'm a really hard sell. Like, you got to sell me on the value of your NFT for me even to think and consider buying it, right? So that's where I come from. So when I build these things, I'm like, what would convince me to buy something, especially at this early stage where, none of our earning systems are up. You can't buy our tokens. All you can buy is our passive income cards. So I try to put myself in your shoes and be like, if I'm looking at a company that's offering things this early, what's really going to incentivize me to participate, to buy these virtual items, to start to get involved and educate myself as soon as possible, so that when all of these, the tokens and the earning systems, all that launch, I'm in the best position to take advantage of that. So that's where I come from. It's also part of why I make these videos. It helps me kind of get out my thoughts about these things. That's why I'm out and walking around today, is because we're starting to get a whole lot of momentum. If you've been watching us the last couple of weeks, we've been getting a ton of momentum, especially since Josh came on board. I think it really 10x'd our momentum. And I want to keep carrying that through. If you think, man, it's really hopping with Blockchain Kingdoms these days, and Jusardi Studios, which is my company, and we make Blockchain Kingdoms, if you're like, man, it's really hopping, I wonder when it's going to die down. I don't want it to ever die down. I want it to keep 10xing from here, scaling up, scaling up. This is a question that we had on our WeFunder page. A possible investor was asking a question. He was like, well, when do you guys think you'll be profitable? When do you plan to be profitable? And I was like, well, profits are nice, but we think the Netflix model is better. The one where you just keep scaling up so big that profitability doesn't matter, because the value of your company keeps going up. If you can increase the value of your company from in the case of our company, 18 million to 180 million, and then and then $18 billion. Why, if you can keep increasing the value of a company by that much, well then who cares if you're profitable? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, of course, the only reason that you'd actually be able to put in those valuations is if the the assets or the business or the income of the company justifies not being profitable. It's because, look, we keep leapfrogging our value. We keep growing and growing and growing. And the important thing is sustainability, right? This happened with AOL. AOL had massive growth, and their valuation kept skyrocketing. And they actually ended up falling apart because of their competitors. And there's just so much competition in the space. And it was something to do, it was really the technology. It was like, hey, if anybody could create an ISP, then, that basically is what took, America Online under, was that they couldn't justify their costs anymore when their infrastructure couldn't keep up with the rapid demand for the internet, and essentially people started to undercut them on their prices. And AOL does still exist, but mostly as a brand. They don't do much else than a brand name at AOL Time Warner, and not even called that anymore, right? So when people ask me, when this investor asked me, hey, when do you guys plan to be profitable? I'm like, if we can prove that we have the business and the assets and the income and the customers to support a 10x valuation, and you invest in our company, like, why would you care about profitability? It's like, we are 10 times more valuable now than when you bought us, and so for a couple of years down the line, and we're like 100 times what we're, valuable right now. This is one of the ways I like to value companies is, if I look at a company, I'm like, okay, if this company is worth like a $18 million valuation, that would be like an angel investment startup, right? So, so if a company is worth 18 million now, and then it is worth $180 million next year, and that is a 10x from where we are right now, well, then, that's a 10x my investment. So, if we do the math and we're like, hey, so one day this company is worth basically, I won't be able to do the math here probably in my head just while I'm walking. I got to fly, bees like flying around me. If we do the math and I get into that company when it's $18 million, valuation, and then one day it's a $180 billion company. How many zeros is that? That's a lot of zeros added to my investment. So that's kind of the way that I look at it when I look at the possibility of investing in like a company, as it's being, if there's like an angel investment thing like WeFunder or a Start Engine, if something like that. If I'm angel investing, I'm kind of like, what do I think is the likely valuation of this company? We want to be a multi-trillion-dollar company. There's not, a whole lot of, trillion-dollar companies out there, right? We can name them on less than one hand, and maybe I'm not exactly sure about that. But we want to be one of those, and we think we can, because there is nobody capturing a market for gaming as income. Not really. There's a bunch of companies right now popping up for, I guess you could say something like Second Life tried it, but we all know their technology doesn't work. They had over a decade to try to get that right. And I've talked about it before. The reason it didn't work for Second Life was because they tried to make it too much like the real world. And real world wealth kind of works to a point, right? But we're trying to create a whole new market. We're not trying to recreate the real world inside a virtual world. We're trying to create a market economy that works for a virtual world. And that's why we created a job token. So the ultimate strategy just isn't to turn video gaming into paid work. We actually think that as we start to have the market in our job tokens and our seeds and our coins, and if you've seen our virtual supply chain technology, as the market for all of our tokens in the economy and how that works rises, you're going to see a lot of secondary spending into our virtual items. We actually could see this as like, say, Gala Games is a great example. I got involved in Gala Games, I bought a couple of buildings, and those buildings went up in value. It's a dog. Went up in value by like, how much was my one that went up the worth? Like 5x, I think, is maybe the highest one of my buildings went up. I'm holding on to Grand Forge. I think that could like I bought it for like 2,000. I think it'd be like a $50,000 building one day. There's only 20 of them from Randus, a massively multiplayer RPG. But anyways, don't want to get distracted. What I'm saying is that I made huge profits from some of these buildings. I still have like 50 Mirandus buildings, right? And those NFTs. But I also bought their Gala nodes, and those Gala nodes at their peak, I think, were making like $30 a day. Each, and so now I have 3 nodes and almost 2 nodes worth of referrals, so thanks to someone in our community for registering almost like 8 people to buy under his node after he registered under me. So it was a huge help, and I actually gave him a little bit of equity into the company for that, because it helped us out a lot. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, I profited very well from being involved with Gala Games, and that has allowed me to reinvest more into other NFTs, back into Gala Games. So it creates a positive cycle, right? You have all this money coming into it. So the same thing is going to happen with Blockchain Kingdoms. We're going to have essentially, you know, a lot of money coming into our job system, the job market, the tokens, and then as people start to profit and people get to, you know, earn income from playing the games, we're going to see more of those players reinvesting into assets in our NFTs and you know, and our items, and that's just going to go back into the business, make it grow, make it bigger, and turn it into this giant feedback loop. And you know, if you've been watching my coverage between, you know, Gala Games, Engine Coin, and you've watched our technology, you probably have a distinct sense that we are very different from what anybody else is doing in the space right now. You know, no one else is trying to turn video gaming into average income. Everyone's just trying to sell NFTs, sell their tokens, but we're really all about growing this capital base. So there's a lot of thoughts I have, and I kind of feel like I want to talk more because there's so much going on. But really, my goal is to keep the momentum going. You know, don't let it stop. Just keep moving. That's why I'm out here today recording this video while I'm on a walk. It's because I don't want to stop. I don't want to have to stop everything I'm doing, try to prepare a video, get the lights on, you know, take a shower, do my hair, all this stuff. Like, I want to wake up, I want to go out, I want to get this business moving, and look at what the next move is. So I can share a little more news with you. We just put Mark Castillo, Night Sky, on payroll. So now he is, you know, officially, you know, getting paid by the company, and thanks to everyone who's been buying our passive income cards, and it's really starting to give us the ability to, you know, pay him for making those cards. And we were able to buy him a rendering computer last week for part of his setup, because his computer was having trouble rendering all of those art assets. So now, you know, he has a much faster computer and he can render those faster. I was creating the majority of the cards up until recently. Mark's, or Night Sky's, his name on Discord, his first cards were the Earth Daughter cards, and we had someone else do a week of cards. It was the week with the Prismasks. I forget which week that is. But otherwise, so many of those other cards were mine. I'm no longer making the cards. I had a lot of fun with them. You know, some of my favorite ones were the Akara Sugimoto. I like the Lovebots one. That's kind of fun. And I think at some point we're probably going to go back in and say which artist created the cards, because I think that's fair, so people get credit for the ones they made. And the goal of the passive income cards, if you're an investor, you may be particularly interested to know that what can I avoid? There's people with the dog over here. You may be interested to know with the passive income cards, my goal is that we start selling out of these. So I think we could potentially, after we release this new information about the passive income cards and the crypto castles, and that anybody who owns a passive income card will be owners of the supply chain for the crypto castles platform, I think we could potentially really start selling out of those cards. So my goal is basically get them all sold out and then raise the prices of them. We don't know by how much, and you might be saying, hey Robert, well don't price me out of the passive income cards because I want to buy some of those too. Well, the cool thing is that with the Crypto Castles platform, it's actually going to feed back into the passive income cards. So if you miss out and for some reason you're not able to buy a passive income card, maybe because they become too expensive. Will still be a way for you to participate in the passive income card ecosystem through crypto castles, which we think will be more affordable option for some people. If the passive income cards end up becoming like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, I mean, who knows what it could get to? It's really up to the market. But like if you had a $10,000 passive income card, that's going to be unaffordable for a great many people. I come from a middle lower income class background. I totally know that. But that was also part of the incentive for creating the Crypto Castles game. So we could create a way to participate in the passive income card ecosystem without essentially diluting the value of a passive income card holder, and still allowing basically the passive income card holders to create a secondary market using their cards. Because if you were earning from a passive income card and you can only sell that to other passive income card holders, well, that's kind of that's a narrow market, right? That might not be like the biggest market in the world. So we're going to open it up by giving the passive income cards this whole secondary market that they can supply. Now, this is not a promise, but if that goes really super well, I don't see why we wouldn't expand on that. Why we wouldn't find, why we wouldn't branch either. I think it would probably be from the passive income cards, but I'm not sure. But like, why not allow the passive income cards to branch off into yet another game? It's not a promise. It's just a thought I'm having. Sorry, I think I just burped a little. So if you, all this walking, if you are thinking, well, you guys are getting a lot on your plate, well, we think that we're scaling well for our size, and everything's really going well. Again, if you are a investor, you might be interested to know that our deal with actually, I'm not sure if I can legally say this. Let's just say that I've already kind of said something about it somewhere else, but anyways, let's just say this for now, is that our deal with our developers does not cost us, quite as much as as someone might fear, if they're like, oh my gosh, I'm paying these developers a ton of money. Luckily, we've seen eye to eye with these developers, and we have a deal with them that is going to work out really well for both of us. And we like their passion and their thoughtfulness in game development, and I think we're a good match there. Those are so many of the thoughts I have. Is there anything else I want to chat with you guys about? Just gotta kind of think about it. Oh, the markets. Yeah, the markets. I don't know what's going on with the stock market and the crypto market right now. If you need an expert to help you know what's going on with the stock market and the crypto market right now, don't ask me. I only started trading a year ago, and I think I've learned a lot. But I'm kind of in the space where the crypto market, to me, seems overheated. I feel like the biggest thing is no one really knows what to price anything at. What is the value of, Dogecoin had a huge run. So what is the value of Dogecoin against Bitcoin, against Binance? Dogecoin overtook it overtook number 3. Yeah, I think Binance is number 3, and Dogecoin, for a very short breath, overtook Binance in the crypto market, and everyone's like, what is this craziness? Is people just yellowing into Dogecoin? It doesn't have any use case, but people don't seem to care, so they're just investing in it. So maybe a lot of new investors coming into crypto. But here's the thing about crypto is when we had the big, huge Bitcoin crash, hopefully you're aware there was a major Bitcoin crash, I think in 2017, and it went from $20,000 down to $2,000 to $3,000. Massive decrease, right? So I forget if it actually was up to 20. Was it 12? Oh, so you guys know what I'm saying, right? It's a massive decrease from Bitcoin's all-time high in 2017. So it did crash significantly back then. Now the conditions now are different. However, what is the same is it seems like we're entering a peak hype period. And I think the only thing that's really going to determine whether or not we're in peak hype is when a lot of the whales and the major institutions start exiting. Once they start exiting, well, then you're like, oh, okay, so now we're in peak hype. So what I've found is that the market is kind of funny. where the more money you have, the more risk you're taking. If you're like Elon Musk and Tesla, and you have, like, I forget, was it 1.8 billion is how much they invested or something like that into Bitcoin? And if you're investing that much money, you're at a greater risk than a lot of these smaller investors. So what the large investors have to do is, I kind of see this more like like nature. You have a giant well, and the well, wants to eat smaller fish. So it goes and it finds where the other smaller fish are, and that's kind of like when you have like a giant bull run, right? You'll have a big investor come in, and they're going to make some splashes. They're going to buy a lot, and you're going to see the price spike, and then it's like an ecosystem. So the smaller fish are going to be like, oh, look, someone just came and bought a lot of our tokens, and now we're going to, eat a little bit of algae off that well while the other fish are getting eaten. And we're going to, it's kind of a weird analogy there, but basically, when people see these giant price spikes, there's a, sorry about the dog, there's a higher potential for a massive sell-off, because people are like, oh, look, a well came in, bought a whole lot, time to sell. And then that well who came in and bought all that money is then left holding the bag, and they're like, wait, what? Like, and they're not surprised, right? If you're a big investor and you're buying something enough to make a price move somewhere between like 5 to 10 to 20%, like, there's going to be some profit taking, most likely, or possibly, when you buy. So that puts the people who buy in big more at risk. So you'll see a lot of these institutions will just ride it out. So they'll be like, okay, well, everyone took profits, but it's okay. We're going to ride this out until like the next peak. We have like a peak in mind, right? We're going to wait until in Bitcoin, I would say there's a lot of investors out there who are waiting for like that peak hype. They're like, okay, at peak hype is when we're going to take our profits. And I think this round of a Bitcoin correction, don't know when it could happen, but I think we're very likely, you got to crouch down under this thing. There's very likely going to be, at least I think, like a 25% correction at the least. I'd be surprised if there's a correction, it's not that much, because who knows what anything is worth in crypto right now, right? We're still watching the massive correction from the stock market in March. There's just like, everything's just kind of like up and down, and we're in this, people kind of call this like a price discovery period, like trying to figure out what the price of something is. Some penny stocks were up almost like, I don't know, it's like double what they were before March, and like in January and September. And I've been following some penny stocks, and some of them were like almost like $5 to $6, and now they're like $1.98, and they seemed like maybe they're starting to hit their bottom. I don't know. I actually bought just a little bit in the stock market again recently, not a whole lot, but I was like, I just kind of want to test it, right? Because I've been newish to investing for the last year, and I want to kind of test my own hypotheses. And all in all, I've made more profits investing in the stock market and taking risks, way more profits than I've lost, but definitely, like, every time I invest, I'm taking a risk, and I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I can always learn from it. I can always look at the patterns that buyers have. So I feel like I've kind of gotten a little off track here. I just wanted to share my thoughts about the stock market. And I don't know what's going to happen, but those are some of my thoughts. Hopefully it's useful to you. So Blockchain Kingdoms, we're raising money on WeFunder as the opportunity to become one of the first investors in Blockchain Kingdoms. And we're super excited. We appreciate everyone who's invested in us so far, and everyone who's supported us. You guys have come out in Discord, and you are an amazing community. Thank you so much. And we're here to be of service to you guys. I used to be in some phone calls with other possible co-founders before I found Josh, and a couple of them I found I could just, like, on the phone, I just felt like they were just like, well, where's my exit going to be? Like, when are you going to make a ton of money and like leave the company? And because I just want to build a company and make a lot of money and then exit, and then tell my other Silicon Valley friends, like, how many Ferraris we have. Like, that's not the goal of the company. So, our company is to be of service to video gamers, build a multi-trillion-dollar market around video games, so that when this emerging displacement or the displacement of employment around emerging technologies that are automating everything continues to grow. I think we're already starting to see it. Even COVID has proven that not everybody has to be out working. There are other ways to make money with virtual jobs, and I think we're going to be in a period of pain in the job market for a couple of years. But I think in the end, we're going to, blockchain kingdoms, I feel our role and our goal is to turn, the world into more of a utopia, especially in terms of, the job market. I think there's going to be more people who can actually do what they want to do and live the lives they want to live because of companies like ours that give them virtual work and play video games. I can't tell you how many times I've played a game like, say, No Man's Sky, and I'm just like, man, I wish this was my job, exploring planets, building bases, finding resources to build new things, exploring and cataloging, strange creatures. I can't tell you how many times I wish that was my day job. And I've decided that my job is going to be making that possible for all the other video gamers on the world. So that's my job. My job is to make it so that you get to create your dream job out of playing video games. If you're a gamer, if you're not a gamer and you're an investor, you're just watching this video for value. Well, I hope you've also found that valuable to make a decision about whether or not you want to invest in blockchain kingdoms and how much. So yeah, you can get to our WeFunder at the bottom of this video. There's a link, and join us on Discord. We have a great community. We'd love to have you there. And so if you found this useful, like and subscribe. The old mantra. And you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.